So everyone judges Jaime Lannister, calls him the Kingslayer for doing what he did to the Mad King, but what were they planning to do with him? What were the rebels? Ned Stark, Robert Baratheon, what were they going to do? Because the whole point of the rebellion was to remove Aerys from the Iron Throne, one way or the other. I think the issue is not so much with the removal of Aerys, but the way that it all went down. And Jaime, in fairness, did not do himself any favours because he wasn't candid. He didn't explain what had happened. Jaime thinks everyone's looking at me and they're sneering, calling me Kingslayer, and they haven't even bothered to ask what really happened. He sees everyone as a bunch of hypocrites because it was pretty much universally agreed upon that even the people who were licking his arse, no one liked Aerys. Everyone agreed he was volatile and he was dangerous to have around. He could turn on a dime. He turned on his closest friend. So one way or the other, Aerys had to go. So whether that was abdication or him being forced to go to the Night's Watch or him just being killed outright. Aerys was responsible for the deaths of Ned Stark's father and oldest brother, and that's why Ned is the Lord of Winterfell, because Aerys killed his family. There had to be some kind of recompense, some repercussions, and Aerys didn't just kill Brandon and Rickard Stark, he tortured them. So from Jaime's perspective, Ned would have a very good reason to want to get rid of the Mad King as well. And the fact that Ned quibbles about the semantics of it all, that's what really gets under Jaime's skin. But Ned Stark is like, it's a bit convenient that you acted when you did, right as the Lannister army was sacking the city. Where were you when Aerys was deteriorating? Even though Jaime was a kid and there were far more senior members of the Kingsguard who stood by and were seen and not heard, and Jaime did try and do stuff but was told to be quiet. The timing of it all is looked at unfavourably. Like, you stood by and you didn't do anything to protect Elia Martell and her kids. What about Queen Rhaella? What about Brandon and Rickard Stark? So people were doubting Jaime's motivations. What about all the people Aerys was tormenting? Because the Mad King was on a downward spiral big time by the end. Why now, Jaime? And we know that Jaime has multiple reasons for wanting to get rid of the Mad King. Firstly, because of the way he was behaving and the fact that that just couldn't continue. Like, we can't live like this. You can't be burning people in the throne room. Aerys had also threatened Tywin, so there was an added motivation to protect his family. And then of course you have the wildfire and Jaime not wanting King's Landing to be obliterated. Jaime did something that other people were not willing to do, and it's his position as a knight, because he'd sworn vows as a knight of the realm and a knight of the Kingsguard. Like, you are twice bound by your oaths. You should be even more loyal. We should be able to count on you more than anybody. That's why you're the Kingsguard, the best of the best, and you've let us down. But nobody ever stopped to really question why Jaime did what he did. They just took it as, oh, he did it because, he's a Lannister, he's Tywin's son, they're the type. And Jaime gets so frustrated when people get bogged down with the semantics of it all. When he's talking to Catelyn Stark, when he's a hostage, Jaime is like, look, you're all a bunch of hypocrites because none of you liked him. And look what he did to the Starks. Like, look what he was doing to everybody. No one was safe. And Jaime says, don't get it twisted. Don't think I did this for the Starks. I didn't give a shit about Brandon or Rickard, but enough was enough. Like, the elephant in the room is, if we all put it to a vote, like 99% of people would be like, yeah, let's get rid of him. If you're really being honest, is this guy a good king? No. And the people who would have said, yes, keep Aerys around, were only doing it because they were getting something from Aerys. Money, favours, power. In terms of what's best for the realm, Aerys had to go. And that's Jaime's issue. It bothers him that people romanticize the Mad King and don't remember all of the things he did and how bad it really was. It's like time has dulled people's senses. And Jaime, I say this all the time, doesn't help himself because he doesn't share the real story. And he lives with this name, this Kingslayer title, and the longer it goes on, the harder it is for Jaime to actually open up. And it's only when he really speaks to Catelyn and Brienne that you start to see the real reason. Like, I didn't do this for why you think. There's more to the story. In A Clash of Kings, Jaime says to Catelyn Stark, I think it passing odd that I am loved by one for a kindness I never did, and reviled by so many for my finest act. And if people in this world are so honourable and so upstanding, why did nobody do anything beforehand? Why did it fall to a young teenager? That's kind of a bit where Jaime's anger and frustration comes from. Like, damn, I was a kid still, and it was me that stepped up, and you guys are all proven warriors and you're all so noble, but it was me that had to finally put an end to this. In Jaime's mind, the ends justify the means, and the Mad King had to go. If everybody is being honest, they would admit the same thing. It's just the way he did it and the fact that he didn't explain it. That's why there is this resentment towards Jaime. And Jaime thinks you're all a bunch of hypocrites, because if you had been in my shoes, if you'd seen what I'd seen, the horrors that I'd seen, you would have done the same thing.